Ghastly Garlic Episode 17. Demon of the Swiss Alps. High in the remote reaches of the Swiss Alps, where jagged peaks pierce the sky and ancient forests whisper secrets of old, there lies a village shrouded in mystery and legend. This village, secluded from the chaos of the outside world, was once a haven of peace and tranquility. However, during the dark days of World War II, it became the stage for a tale of horror that would echo through the generations. The legend of the village begins with the arrival of a British military company, sent to reinforce Switzerland's neutrality against the looming threat of German aggression. Among the soldiers stationed in the village was Private Reginald, a young man whose bravery and loyalty would be tested in ways he could never have imagined. It started with small, seemingly inconsequential events. Pieces of wood and tarps vanished from sheds, and valuables disappeared from homes. The villagers whispered about a presence in the mountains, an unseen force that watched and waited. Then, one day, a child went missing. The villagers' fear turned to terror, as more children vanished without a trace. Panic gripped the village when Private Reginald also disappeared. Rumors spread like wildfire, suggesting that a monster lurked in the mountains, preying on the innocent. The soldiers, determined to protect the villagers and uncover the truth, patrolled the area tirelessly. One fateful night, as a heavy snowstorm raged, the soldiers spotted a figure peering through the window of a house. They chased the shadowy figure to the edge of the village, where it seemed to disappear into the ground. Following the tracks, they discovered a hidden cave carved into the side of a snowdrift. Inside the cave, a grim discovery awaited them. The soldiers found Reginald's lifeless body, his heart pierced by a bullet. Surrounding him were the half-eaten remains of 7 missing children. It was clear that something unnatural had taken place within those cold, dark walls. The villagers spoke of an ancient demon that haunted the Alps, a creature of darkness and hunger known as der Fresser, or the Devourer. This demon was said to consume the souls of children to gain eternal power. Legends told of its insatiable hunger and its ability to manipulate the minds of men, turning them into unwilling servants. Reginald's spirit, driven by guilt and a desire to protect the innocent, was said to have confronted the demon in the cave. The battle was fierce, but ultimately futile. The demon, undeterred by Reginald's bravery, continued its reign of terror. Over the years, the cave where Reginald fell became a place of dread. The villagers avoided it, fearing that the demon still lurked within its depths. Some claimed to hear the ghostly cries of the children, while others spoke of a cold, malevolent presence that watched from the shadows. Despite the passage of time, the legend of the demon of the Swiss Alps remained. It became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the darkness that could lurk even in the most serene of places. The villagers hoped that the demon had been vanquished, but deep down, they knew that evil never truly dies. Decades later, the peace of the village would once again be shattered by the resurgence of this ancient evil. Drawn by the whispers of the past, a group of modern adventurers would find themselves entangled in the same nightmare that had haunted the village during the war. Their quest to uncover the truth and save one of their own would lead them into the heart of the mountain, where the demon waited, hungry and patient. As the first flakes of a new snowstorm began to fall, the stage was set for a confrontation between the living and the dead, the brave and the damned. The demon of the Swiss Alps was ready to claim more souls, and only time would tell if the adventurers could break the cycle of terror and bring peace to the haunted village. Prologue: Echoes of the Past. The Swiss Alps, with their majestic peaks and serene valleys, are often seen as a haven of peace and beauty. However, during the dark days of World War II, this idyllic landscape became a battleground of survival and horror. As Switzerland struggled to maintain its neutrality amidst the turmoil, strange occurrences in a remote village nestled in the mountains told a different story. Among the whispers of missing children and monstrous entities, the legend of Private Reginald and his tragic end became an eerie part of the village's folklore. Decades later, these ghostly tales would resurface, drawing a group of modern adventurers into a chilling mystery that would test their courage and resolve. Chapter 1: An Unexpected Discovery. Samuel "Sam" Archer had always enjoyed visiting his relatives in the Swiss Alps. The breathtaking scenery, the crisp mountain air, and the tranquil environment provided a perfect escape from his hectic life. This visit, however, was different. While exploring the old woodshed behind his cousin Hans' house, Sam stumbled upon a strange artifact, a weathered, rune-inscribed amulet half buried in the dirt. Intrigued, he pocketed the artifact and made his way back to the house. That night, Hans went missing without a trace. Desperate and afraid, Sam contacted his friends, Eve Thompson, Marcus Mark Dawson, Isabella Izzy Reyes, Ava Lee, and Theo Carter, the team of adventurers who had helped him uncover the secrets of the Ultima Horror and the haunting of Pisadera. With their collective expertise in folklore, technology, and the supernatural, Sam knew they were his best hope of finding Hans. The team arrived in the Swiss village just as a winter storm was setting in. The villagers, already on edge due to the recent disappearance, were wary of outsiders. As they unpacked their gear and settled into the village inn, they began to gather information. Izzy, with her fluency in multiple languages and keen investigative skills, took the lead in questioning the locals. The villagers spoke of the strange disappearances during World War II, recounting the legend of Private Reginald and the missing children. The old tales, combined with the recent events, painted a picture of a haunting that had spanned generations. Sam showed the artifact he had found to the team, and they quickly realized its significance. The runes were ancient, possibly Norse, and seemed to be part of a protective charm. Chapter 2, The Arrival. The team gathered in the cozy common room of the village inn, its walls lined with dark wood paneling and decorated with faded photographs and trinkets that told stories of the past. The flickering fire in the stone fireplace cast dancing shadows across the room, adding to the atmosphere of unease that had settled over them. As the storm outside raged, howling winds and pelting snow created an eerie backdrop for their conversation. Izzy spread out a map of the village and surrounding areas on a large oak table. According to the locals, the disappearances happened near the outskirts of the village, where the woods are densest, she explained, tracing a path with her finger. We should start our search there. Sam nodded, his face etched with worry. Hans mentioned he was going to check on an old trapper's cabin in that area the night he disappeared. It's a good place to begin. Eve, always pragmatic, interjected, we need to be careful. If there's something out there targeting people, we can't afford to make mistakes. Mark adjusted his glasses, his analytical mind already working through potential scenarios. We should split into 2 groups to cover more ground. Izzy and I can take the eastern part of the woods while Sam, Eve, Ava, and Theo handle the western side. With a plan in place, they gathered their equipment, flashlights, thermal imaging cameras, and other tools of their trade. The storm showed no signs of abating as they ventured into the night, each step taking them further from the warmth and safety of the village. The woods were a labyrinth of towering pines and snow-laden branches, the howling wind masking any sounds of potential danger. Sam led the way, his flashlight cutting a narrow beam through the darkness. He clutched the artifact in his pocket, its runes somehow providing a strange sense of reassurance. After hours of searching, the group found themselves near the trapper's cabin. The small, dilapidated structure was barely visible through the falling snow. Sam's heart pounded as he approached the door, his mind racing with the possibilities of what they might find inside. The door creaked open, revealing a scene of desolation. The cabin was abandoned, its interior covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. But amidst the decay, Sam spotted something that made his blood run cold, a trail of footprints leading from the cabin into the deeper part of the woods. We are on the right track, Theo said, his voice tense. Let's keep moving. As they followed the footprints, the oppressive atmosphere seemed to intensify. The air grew colder, and a sense of foreboding settled over them. It was as if the very forest was watching their every move. Chapter 3, Into the Darkness. Their journey led them to an eerie-looking cave hidden behind a dense thicket of trees. The entrance was partially obscured by snow and ice, and the interior was dark and foreboding. The air inside the cave was still and frigid, every breath producing clouds of vapor that quickly dissipated. Be on your guard, Eve warned, her eyes scanning the shadows. We don't know what we are walking into. The narrow passageway opened into a larger cavern, its walls covered in strange markings and symbols. The faint glow of their flashlights illuminated old military equipment, scraps of uniforms, and bones scattered across the ground, grim reminders of the cave's dark history. Ava's voice trembled slightly as she spoke. These markings. They are not just random graffiti. They look like ritualistic symbols. Izzy nodded, her expression grim. They are protective runes, similar to the ones on the artifact. Whoever placed them here was trying to keep something out, or keep something in. As they ventured deeper into the cave, the sense of dread grew stronger. The temperature continued to drop, and the air became thick with an oppressive energy. The team moved cautiously, their senses heightened by the palpable tension. In the heart of the cavern, they stumbled upon a macabre scene, a makeshift altar adorned with old bones and tattered clothing. At the center lay a large, weathered book, its pages filled with ancient texts and illustrations of dark rituals. "This must be some kind of grimoire," Mark said, carefully examining the book. "It's filled with incantations and spells. Someone was using this to summon or control something." Before they could process the implications, a sudden chill swept through the air, extinguishing their flashlights and plunging the cavern into darkness. A low, guttural growl echoed through the space, sending shivers down their spines. "We are not alone," Theo whispered, his voice barely audible over the growing sense of dread. In the faint light of the cave, they saw a pair of glowing eyes staring at them from the shadows. The creature emerged slowly, its form shifting and writhing as if made of pure darkness. It was the demon they had feared, a malevolent entity with an insatiable hunger for souls. Chapter 4: The Folklore Connection. Izzy's research into the village's history had uncovered a chilling connection to the past. The legend of Private Reginald was more than just a ghost story. It was rooted in the real events of World War II. According to the old tales, Reginald had gone missing while on patrol, only to be found dead in a cave, surrounded by the half-eaten bodies of missing children. The villagers believed that a demon had taken residence in the mountains, preying on their young. Izzy theorized that the artifact Sam had found was part of an ancient protective charm meant to ward off the demon. The disappearances, both past and present, were likely linked to the creature's return. Determined to save hands and put an end to the horror, the team pressed on. As they explored the cave, the demon lunged at them, its claws slicing through the air with terrifying speed. The team scattered, each member fighting to survive the onslaught. Sam brandished the artifact, hoping its protective power would be enough to hold the demon at bay. "Stick together," Eve shouted, her voice echoing off the cavern walls. "We need to use the artifact's power to weaken it." They regrouped, forming a circle with Sam at the center. The demon snarled, its eyes glowing with malevolent fury. As it lunged again, Sam held the artifact high, chanting an incantation Izzy had found in the grimoire. A blinding light erupted from the amulet, forcing the demon to recoil in pain. Taking advantage of the momentary reprieve, Mark and Theo set up a makeshift barrier using the runes from the grimoire. They drew a circle of protection around the team, reinforcing it with the artifact's power. The demon roared in frustration, unable to breach the barrier. "We need to find a way to banish it," Izzy said, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. The grimoire must have a spell for exorcism or banishment. They quickly flipped through the pages of the book, searching for the right incantation. The demon's relentless assault continued, its claws striking the barrier with increasing ferocity. Time was running out. Chapter 5: The Apparition. As they searched for the banishment spell, a sudden chill swept through the air. The temperature plummeted, and a ghostly apparition appeared before them. It was the spirit of one of the dead children, its translucent form glowing faintly in the darkness. The child beckoned to them, leading them deeper into the cave. Following the apparition, they discovered a hidden opening that led to a larger chamber. There, in the dim light, they saw a spectral battle unfolding. The spirit of Private Reginald was locked in combat with the monstrous demon, its form shifting and writhing in the shadows. Reginald fought valiantly, protecting the souls of the dead children from the demon's grasp. The apparition of the child pointed to a section of the cave wall covered in runes and symbols. Among them was a detailed illustration of the banishment ritual they had been searching for. Izzy quickly translated the ancient text, her voice steady as she read the incantation aloud. As she chanted, the cave began to tremble, and the light from the runes intensified. The demon roared in fury, its form becoming more unstable and chaotic. Reginald's spirit, emboldened by the incantation, struck the demon with renewed strength. The team joined in, using their knowledge and tools to weaken the creature. Ava's lantern emitted bursts of light that disoriented the demon, while Theo used his strength to hold it back. Mark's barrier held strong, preventing the demon from escaping. Chapter 6: The Rescue. In the center of the chamber, they found Hans, unconscious and pale. Ava and Theo rushed to his side, checking for signs of life. He was alive, but in a deep coma. The demon turned its attention to the intruders, its eyes glowing with malevolent intent. The team knew they had to act quickly to save Hans and help Reginald. Mark, ever the inventor, quickly assembled a device using parts from their equipment. He created a makeshift demon shield, a gadget designed to repel supernatural entities. As he activated the shield, a bright light enveloped the chamber, driving the demon back. The demon's form began to waver, its strength sapped by the combined power of the artifact and the shield. Reginald's spirit pressed the attack, delivering a final, decisive blow that shattered the demon's physical form. With a deafening roar, the creature dissipated into a cloud of dark mist, leaving behind an eerie silence. The team quickly carried Hans out of the cave, the cold night air a stark contrast to the oppressive atmosphere they had just escaped. They rushed him to the nearest hospital, where doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize his condition. Despite their best efforts, Hans remained in a coma, his fate uncertain. Chapter 7, The Final Stand. Back at the village, the team thanked Reginald's spirit for his help. They knew that the fight was not over. The demon could return if the shield failed. But for now, the souls of the children were at peace, and the village was safe. The villagers, once skeptical and fearful, now looked upon the team with a newfound respect and gratitude. They had faced an ancient evil and emerged victorious, bringing a measure of peace to a place haunted by its dark past. As they prepared to leave the Swiss Alps, the team reflected on their journey. They had faced unimaginable horrors and uncovered dark secrets, but their work was far from finished. The world was filled with mysteries, and their quest for the truth would lead them to even more dangerous and eerie adventures. With Hans still in a coma, they vowed to continue their fight against the supernatural, determined to protect the innocent and bring peace to restless souls. The legend of Pisadera and the demon of the Swiss Alps were just the beginning. The darkness was still out there, waiting for them to shine a light. Epilogue. The mystery continues. As they packed their gear and prepared to depart, Sam lingered for a moment, staring at the snow-capped peaks of the Alps. The artifact hung around his neck, a reminder of the battles they had fought and the ones yet to come. He knew their journey was far from over. Each new adventure brought more questions than answers, and the mysteries of the supernatural world were vast and unfathomable. In the quiet moments before they left, Izzy approached Sam, her expression thoughtful. "We'll find a way to bring Hans back," she said firmly. "This is just the beginning." Sam nodded, drawing strength from her resolve. "I know. And we'll be ready for whatever comes next." As the team boarded the train back to civilization, they knew that their story was far from finished. The shadows of the past still lingered, and new horrors awaited them. But together, they were a force to be reckoned with, united by their quest for truth and justice. Stay tuned for the next gripping installment of their saga, where the team will face new challenges, uncover deeper secrets, and confront even darker forces in their relentless pursuit of the unknown. The end.
Thanks for tuning in to our podcast. If you enjoyed our exploration of ghosts, mythical creatures, and urban legends, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling episodes. Until next time, my beloved listeners.